Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again. This is part 6. Unfortunately, this is the last one of the series. I hope that you've been enjoying this series of the Rebbe's advice of how to live a more meaningful and purposeful life. So, in the past 5 weeks, we've been dealing with challenges, both health challenges, mental challenges, other kind of challenges, family challenges, relationship challenges. Tonight, we're going to leave those challenges aside. And what we're going to do is we are going to concentrate on how to be the very best person we can be. That's it. The very best person we can be. Right? Don't do that slogan, be all you can be. Right? Be all you can be. And that's what human beings' endeavors is, that they would like to always better themselves, right? They always want to be a better husband, a better rabbi, a better wife, a better mother, a better friend, just a better person. Everybody wants to be the same. We know in business that if you stay static, what happens? You decrease. You decrease. Nothing ever stays the same. So human beings are the same. We all want to try to better ourselves. So tonight we're going to concentrate on this of how to be the very best person, because the past 5 weeks we've already mastered everything about challenges. We know how to get through every challenge, and now we're going to take it to the next level and how we could reach our highest potential, because everybody's been given a soul and everybody's been given this tremendous potential to reach high and be the greatest person. But sometimes what happens is we get stuck. We get stuck. We're in a funk. We're in a rut. So tonight we are going to see how we are going to, Rebbe's approach is how we are able to extricate ourselves from that funk, from get out of that, and how we can set a path to be the very best person that we can be. And that endeavor really never changes, right? That desire to be better never really changes, because we always want to be. There's an expression in Yiddish, as gut is besser nicht besser. If good is better, not better. Of course it is, right? So no matter how good we have it, we always want it a little better, right? You could be the best rabbi, but you still haven't given your best sermon yet. You're still waiting for that grand slam sermon. You've hit a 3-run homer, you've hit a 2-run homers, but can always be better. And that's what we want. We want to be the best that we can be, both spiritually, emotionally, strong, and fit. Okay? All right. The Torah tells us from King Solomon, you look in text number 1, but you don't have to have a book. I'm just going to read it. He says, how many people understand that the spirit of the human ascends on high, while the spirit of the beast descends to the earth? The spirit of the human ascends, goes up, while the spirit of the beast descends. So the human being spirit is constantly on a state of ascension. It constantly wants to keep going up and keep going up and keep going up. And that's a natural tendency of what we want to do. It's part of who we are. It's part of who we are. So we are going to look at a number of different ways, approaches of how to be the ultimate, to bring out that great potential, within inside of us. Okay. I want to always remember that when we talk about the Rebbe's advice, the Rebbe always looked at the world from 2 principles. Principle number 1 is he lived a non-dual living, right? To him, everything that happened on the earth is connected to the Torah, is connected to God. There's no such thing that's outside of that realm. And us, we're human beings, so sometimes we think to ourselves, we don't, our first thoughts are not, it happens. To us, it's we use the word coincidental, haphazard, these things, not that are Rebbe. There's no such thing as haphazard or coincidental. It came from God. That's number 1. Number 2 is the Rebbe always had a mission. His goal was our lives are mission driven. We're driven by a purpose, for a meaning. Wherever we find ourselves, and remember the past 5 classes, we talked about, when no matter what circumstance you find yourself in, there's a purpose. You miss a plane, there's a purpose. You did this, there's a purpose. The Rebbe was always mission driven. And I want you to always keep that in mind, Because how we're going to go, we're going to see the approaches of bringing out your potential from different avenues, and then we're going to go to the Rebbe, and you're going to see, of course, this is what the Rebbe feels, because it's always, from God. It has meaning, it has purpose, and it's mission driven. Okay, so let's start with the classical approach. Okay, what do I mean by the classical approach? If you went to a therapist, or you went online, and you Googled in like this, I want to better myself, ways to help yourself, ways to be better yourself. How can I better be the best I can be? What is the path to self-fulfillment? Any one of those questions, you will get thousands of books. Because there's so many books that are written on self-help. So a lot of people today, in America, we want to be better, but we don't know how. We don't know how. So here, you'll be filled, and most of them will come up with this approach. What we're going to call the classical approach. And the classical approach being bottom up and inside out. Okay, which I will explain. Bottom up, inside out. Let's first start with the bottom up. We are the bottom, and where do we want to go? Up. Okay, that's where we want to go. We want to go up. We always want to ascend, like we read in from King Solomon, right? That he said, you know what? The spirit of the man goes where? Ascends on high. So we want to go on high. So the classical approach is, okay, you've come to me and you want to be better. This is what we're going to have to do. We're going to take the bottom-up approach. Okay, what does the bottom-up approach tell us? So let's take, for example, mountain climbing. Anybody here ever climb a mountain? Yeah, nod your heads, yes. Yes, okay, yeah. For the television audience, yes. We, of course. So what do you do if you want to go mountain climbing? You say like this. First you go in and you go to an expert mountain climber, right? You go to someone that's a professional that's going to help you climb the mountain. You don't know how to climb a mountain. You can go to a professional. Professional's going to tell you, hey, look. You want to ascend to the top of the mountain. That's your goal. This is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go in stages. Step by step. And then after you've gone through a number of different stages, then you'll be ready to tackle your endeavor of trying to climb the mountain. What are some of the stages? So the first thing is you got to get in shape. That's the first thing. I mean, it's going to take a lot to get up there. Okay? So the first thing you got to do is you got to change your eating habits. I mean, if you're eating a lot of, stuff that you're not supposed to eat healthy. Because what that's going to do is it's going to trim you down a little bit. And you're going to have to exercise. Because what exercise is going to do and diet is going to do is going to give you muscle and stamina. And that's what you're going to need. You're going to need muscle and stamina. Because if you want to get up that mountain and you're schlepping a big backpack on your back, and it's, the air is very light up there, and the higher up you go, it gets lighter and lighter, but you're not going to be able to make it if you don't do this. So step number one is exercise and diet. Okay? Get into shape. Okay. Number two is you're going to practice. I mean, you think you're going to go to Mount Everest and the first time you're going to go up there, you're going to hit the running? Of course not. You got to practice. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to inside mountain climbing walls, right? Indoors, it's safe. You'll climb a little mountain here and there, like the little kids do. And slowly but surely, you'll know how to grab onto there and then move your legs and go this and do that and that. And then we'll practice some more. And then we'll go to Signal Hill. We'll climb up a hill in Signal Hill. Of course, it's paved. It's going to be a little easier, but what's that's going to do? It's going to hone us. It's going to get us ready into our mind frame of how that we can practice, and then and then we'll start with little mountains. We'll go out and maybe into the desert out there, find a little mountain that we can climb. All of this. Then we're not finished yet, because now you're working on your skills. Then, if you're ready, you got to buy your equipment. You can't just go up there. I'm going to come like this with my shirt and pants and say I want to climb Mount Everest. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, you got to buy your equipment, and the equipment is going to be top-notch equipment. Because if you want to really tackle a real mountain, we're not talking about a hill in Signal Hill. We're talking about a real mountain. You got to go through all of these steps. If you skip any of these steps, what happens? Disaster. Okay? If you come without your gear, if you haven't practiced beforehand, if you're not in tip-top shape, you could forget about it. That's the way it is. So this is what we would call how to bring out the best in of yourself, the bottom-up approach. Where do you start? From the bottom. You start from the bottom. Step number 1, take care of yourself. Step number 2, develop muscles and stamina. Step number 3, hone your skills. Step number 4, buy equipment, practice, do all of these things. Then, after all of this stuff is done, now we're ready. Okay, here we go. The big day comes, we drive out somewhere or we fly somewhere and we start taking on the big challenge. That's what we call bottom up. Okay? And that's taken, and you could look at also the Torah says, there's a verse in the book of Tehillim, in the book of Psalms, which reads like this: Sur meira vasei tov. Turn away from evil and do good. Bake sholem, pursue peace, seek peace, verodfeyu, and pursue it. So what the verse says is, again, turn away from evil and do good. So we go. It's the King David is talking about the different stages. Now we're not talking about mountain climbing. Now we're talking about becoming a good person. What's the first step for becoming a better person? Turning away from evil. That's the first step. You know what? You can't be your best if you're a conniver, if you're dishonest, if you're a liar, if you're a cheater, do all of these things. You can't be the best person that you can be. So the first thing King David tells you, that if you want to go on this journey, if you want to climb the mountain of being, planting your flag on being the best person that you can be, step number 1 is turn away from evil. Turn away from evil. Take away all of those negative characteristics and traits. Stop lying. Stop lying. Because if you keep lying, what's going to happen? No one is going to believe you, and you're never going to be able to achieve anything. Because the biggest punishment of a liar is that he has to keep lying. You have to cover your other line, then you have to cover the other line, cover the other line. So stop it. Stop it. Don't stop being dishonest. You want people to trust you? You can't. You have to stop that. So after you have all of these terrible characteristic traits, the first step in achieving fulfillment, in achieving perfection, is getting rid of the extra weight that we have on ourselves. And the extra weight here in this case being all of those negative connotations and negative characteristics and negative attitudes to us. Then, once we get rid of that, okay, now we have a clean slate. You're free, you're free, do good. Now you can start on concentrating on being the better parent, being the better mother, being the better wife, being the better person, being the better friend, being the better congregant, the better rabbi. Because why? Just like we talked about the mountain climbing, you've gone now stages. You've done stages. And the first one, clean up your house. Stage number 2 is now you can bring in the better furniture. Can't bring in the better furniture, so get rid of the evil. And then step number 3 would be go out and seek peace. Now that you're ready, have attained step 1 and 2, then go out and seek peace, and you can deal with the world and be the better teacher, friend, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so that, my friend, is what we would call the classical approach to self-betterment, the bottom-up approach. Start with cleaning out your house, then fill it up with good things, and then all of a sudden you can go out there and reach out there into things. Okay, that takes time, it takes effort, it doesn't come easy. But if you follow the program, and if you follow your coach, and if you follow what I tell you to do, guess what's going to happen at the end of the day? You're going to feel like $1 million, because guess where we're going to end up on? Mount Kilimanjaro. We're going to be standing on Mount Kilimanjaro, and you're going to say to yourself, wow, everything that I did in the past was well worth it. Why? Because this was my goal. I got up here, but it took time and effort in this. Bottom, start from the bottom, and then climb rung by rung by rung by rung by rung by rung. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2, we talked before, another part of the classical approach in self-improvement is inside out. Now, a human being is also, part of being human is interacting with other people. Unless you're a hermit where you live alone, then you could leave. You can leave the class, because the class is not for you. This is a class that's dealing with people that want to go out there into the world and make a difference. Okay? Because that's part of who we are. We're a community people. We're a congregation people. We're friendly people. We need friends. We need family. And that forces us to interact with other human beings. And part of that interaction in being a better person is making everybody around you better. What better way to live a life than you can have this influence on people around you to be better? I mean, and to grow. Fantastic. You have given something. You have given back something. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, that any time that you think, you know what, I spend so much time on outreach and so much time on giving, I don't have time. Nah, you're making a mistake. The more you do, the more that you're able to elevate and to inspire and to bring out the best in other people. Guess what that does for you? It elevates you. It doesn't hold you back. It doesn't hold you back. It elevates you. It inspires you. It makes you a better person. So when we come to wanting to influence others, the Talmud says, beautify yourself and then beautify others. Okay? Meaning that, you know what? First worry about yourself. Clean up your own house. Okay? Clean up your own house. Once your house is clean, then you can go out there and you can say to other people, hey, you know what? Come along on this ride. Come with me on this journey. You can do it. You can be better. You can succeed. But in order to be able to do that, you have to clean house. They quote a famous Hasidic rabbi that once said, you know, when I was young, I thought I'm going to be able to fix the entire world. That's it. My goal was to fix the entire world. Then I saw I'm not going to be able to fix the entire world, so I figured, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fix my congregation. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fix my followers. Then I found out that I can't even fix my followers, so you know what I said I'm going to do? I am going to fix my family. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fix my family. Then I found out I couldn't even fix my family. So guess what? I have a wife for sure. Now forget it. She's going to fix you. Then I figured, you know what's going to happen? I found out that the one person I decided was to change is myself. That's what it was. Now that doesn't mean that the Hasidic rabbi didn't realize that of course he has to still work on his congregation, but he realized that first, where does it start from? You know, the Talmud and the commentators always give this an example to this when it comes to doctors, because doctors are supposed to be the ones that you give your health your initiative to, right? They're supposed to keep you healthy. So the doctor tells you, listen. You want to stay healthy? Numero uno, stop smoking. Stop smoking. Good idea. Numero two, eat healthy. Numero three, exercise. Okay? No, and three. Okay? And you listen to the doctor, and you say, yeah, I'm right. Now, if the doctor doesn't smoke, doesn't eat, exercises, does all of these things, you're more likely to say to yourself, you know what, he follows his own advice. But if you're coming into the room and the doctor's eating a big fat hamburger with French fries, drinking a Coca-Cola while smoking a cigar, and then he tells you, hey, you know what, stop smoking and stop eating, and what do you say to yourself? Well, one second. What's wrong with this picture? The person that I'm entrusting to keep me healthy is the very same person that's not following his own advice. So when they're not following their own advice, what does that tell me? That it's probably not real. You know, the old story of the guy, he meets his friends in the street. And his friend says, no, what happened is I recently went to the doctor. What did the doctor say? The doctor said I should stop drinking. Oh, I dropped drinking. So what are you going to do? He says, I know it's going to be very difficult. I've been with the doctor for 30 years. He's changing the doctor. He's not stopping to drink, but he's changing the doctor, okay? It's going to be very difficult. I've been with him for 30 years, okay? That's what most people think. You know why? If a doctor tells you don't do this and you don't like the advice, you dump the doctor, okay? You get rid of the doctor. But what this tells you is that in order for you to be able to influence other people, it's best that you adhere to your own advice. So, beautify, clean, repair yourself, and then you could go out there and do all of these things. So, all of these things is the classical approach from inside out, meaning first you worry about inside yourself, and then everybody around you you'll fix a bit later on. Okay? And therefore you see, we go back to the verse from Psalms. When it says, turn away from evil is step number one. Okay? That's going from the bottom up. Turn away from evil. Number 2, once you clean that out, do good. Right? Do good. And number 3 is seek peace and pursue it. That's where you could go out into the world and seek the peace and then pursue the peace, and you'll have a lot of influence on the outside world if you follow these basic steps. And that would be generally what you would get from these books. Start slow, be consistent, don't give up, keep plugging. Sometimes you'll have some rapid progress. Sometimes you'll have slow progress. It doesn't matter. But if you follow my program, A, B, C, and D, ultimately, guess what's going to happen? One day you're going to wake up and you're going to feel tremendous. You're going to be the person that you were meant to be. Okay? And you know what? A lot of these things work. A lot of them work. On the other hand, a lot of them don't work. Why? Because what happens is that we start to get bogged down in the steps. Because there's a number of steps, so we can start to get bogged down. Meaning, okay, the first thing is I want to climb the mountain, so I gotta start getting healthy. All right, so I say to myself, maybe that's this. Changing my diet and exercising, that becomes a little bit more difficult, Okay, and then here's where you hit the wall. I'm not losing enough weight, or I'm not gaining the stamina enough. I don't have that endurance like I thought I was going to have with all of these things. So we hit the wall, or now I have to start buying these expensive equipment. What am I going to do? Thousands of dollars for the equipment, like Scottish right things, right? It's a lot of money. So you hit the wall, or you start climbing. You ever go to Hill Street in Signal Hill? You ever see Hill Street in Signal Hill? That it's pretty steep, right? Hill Street is pretty steep. You try to get up there and you only make it a quarter of the way up, and you think to yourself, do I really want to do this? I mean, why what got into my head to do this? I mean, it's crazy. All right? So you say to yourself, you know what, I'm not going to do this. So you hit a wall. Okay? That's the problem with the bottom up approach. You're always going to try, now, if you keep plugging away and plugging away and plugging away, sure. Okay? But the Rebbe had a different approach. He said, instead of worrying about all of these, these steps, and these stages of achieving perfection, what I want you to do is, I want you to leap first. Leap first. Jump. Don't worry about it. Jump. What do you mean jump first? And he quoted the fourth Chabad Rebbe. The fourth Chabad Rebbe had this saying. I'm going to say it in Yiddish, and then I'm going to read it in the English. Okay, the word, this is, but you have to listen carefully to this statement. Okay, so you came in the perfect timing, because now we're going to the Rebbe's approach of how to achieve, perfection. And the Rebbe is quoting from the fourth Chabad Rebbe, the Rebbe Reb Shmuel, and he writes like this. The world advises that when facing an obstacle, okay, if you cannot go under it, right, you must leap over it. Okay, think about it. You can't go under it, leap over it. I say, leap over. Leap first. What do you have to wait to go under? Leap first. And this was the Rebbe's approach. Lechatchila a Rebbe. As mechanisch, as mahalt, as lechatchila. Ich halt as madaf gein lechatchila a Rebbe. Meaning, there's a famous statement in Chabad, lechatchila Rebbe, leap first. Don't worry about all the stages and you're thinking about stage A, B, C, and D. No. Go. Just go for it. Don't think it to overthink it. Lechatchila Rebbe, jump over it, and you'll see that this is the way to do it. This is the way to go, and this is the way to achieve perfection. You think to yourself, hold on, one second. We just spent almost a half an hour talking about the classical way, of doing things, and every therapist and all the books and the Barnes and Noble and on Google and on Amazon will tell you the same thing. One second, most of them, no, you got to take it easy. Hold on, Rabbi. I mean, what do you mean leap first? Go first? I mean, how are you leaping? Where are you leaping? What do you mean if you go under, you can't go over? Hold it. We're going to give some examples to this and how we approach this subject, but in the Talmud, there is a case of where one rabbi is advising his student, and he's telling his student, Chatayv achol chatayv ushti. Chatay v'chol, chatay v'shti. Grab and eat, grab and eat. The world is like a banquet. Go out there and grab and eat and grab and eat. What do you mean the world is like a banquet? Go there, grab and eat and grab and eat. I mean, that's where you go to a dinner. You ever go to a banquet? You come into a banquet. What's the first thing you do? Find a seat. What's the second thing you do? Wait for the waiter to serve you, right? What kind of a person is? Can you imagine if everybody ran into a banquet and the devices go grab and eat, grab and eat, and grab and eat? Doesn't make any sense. So what's the rabbi talking? So in the Talmud, the rabbi is encouraging his student because life is short. Right? Life is short. That's what it's an analogy. Life is short. We don't know when the last day is going to be. So instead of postponing, whatever you have to do in a spiritual sense, go out there and grab it. Grab the day. We have it, there, carpe diem. Seize the day. Okay? Because you're going to say to yourself, no, you know what? I want to learn how to read Hebrew. But now, I want to learn how to read it now. Today, I'll wait. I know Rosh Hashanah is coming. It'll be good. I'll wait for Rosh Hashanah because that's when I have to do Hebrew because that's when I'm going to go to temple. I don't want to be the guy that everybody looks at because he has the book upside down. So a month before, I'm going to wait for 6 months from now. So what the rabbi is saying to his student is, Chatay v'chol, go and grab now, go and eat now, go and drink now. Because you never know. When eating and the drinking is of course referring to bettering yourself. Study, do mitzvahs, do whatever you have to do. But do it when? Now. Do it now. So, achshav. That's it, exactly. Achshav, now. Because it is, go back to the banquet analogy. So sure, you know what? You're invited to a banquet. You come to the banquet is incredibly beautiful. I mean, it's everything. We're going into the holiday of Purim, so it's going to be, Achashverosh's feast. Everything is set up. All the royal goblets are out there. The tables are set beautifully. Everything is set. So for the people that come early and they come, they can sit but what if you happen to be a latecomer to the banquet and you're coming in as they're cleaning up, but you still want to participate in the banquet? What are you going to do? Sit and wait for the waiter to serve you? No. Chatay v'chol. Get out there and grab it. Get out there and drink whatever you can because in a few minutes, guess what's going on? The banquet is closing. The banquet is going to close. And once the banquet closes, once the waiters are finished clearing off all of the tables, guess what happens? You're out of luck. You're out of luck. So when they went to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe advised, Chatay v'chol, when he said to you, leap first, what he meant is like this. Okay? See, in the olden days, when we were in Shtetlach or in other places, we had time, we had leisure, to take what we call the classical approach. Start slow, start from the bottom, go up one step. But the Rebbe felt that we find ourselves in a very unique situation. On one hand, we're closer to Mashiach than we ever were, because Mashiach is coming, and any day now Mashiach is going to come, right? Number two, we're in an exile that's darker than ever. Because, just before the dawn, what happens? It's darkest before the dawn. So the Rebbe finds that we find ourselves in a very interesting situation. First of all, if you look outside, it's pretty dark. The Jewish people are under attack, and it's a lot of anti-Semitism, and this and going on, But at the very same time, we are getting closer every day, getting closer to the coming of Mashiach. So we don't have the time and the leisure to sit there and to say to ourselves, you know what? We'll take the classical approach slowly but surely. We don't have that leisure. We now got to go out to Chatay v'chol. We are sitting at the end of the banquet. We got to grab every aspect, every iota of spirituality, every ounce of spirituality and grab it. That's what we have to do. We have to go out there and seize it. Don't wait. Don't wait for it. That's a unique approach. The Rebbe has turned everything, upside down, because everybody will tell you, no, when we spend, no. First, get in shape, okay? Number two, build muscle. Number three, buy equipment. Number four, train mountain climbing. Number five, start, no. Think of where you want to be. Where do you want to be? Top of the mountain. Get there. Don't wait. Just go there. Envision that you're going to be there and make the effort to get up there. Don't get bogged down, because you're going to get stuck somewhere in the details, somewhere in the process. You don't want to get bogged down. Think of where you want to be and move up there and get going. This is a unique and radical approach, to things, right? Because the Rebbe understood that, that if you go slowly but surely, now I've always, don't get me wrong, there's no contradiction over here. I mean, there's slowly but surely approach. I mean, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. If you're going to do everything in one day, it's going to cause chaos. Then the Rebbe didn't want you to cause chaos. But the Rebbe also didn't want you to all of a sudden just sit there and make plans. And what happens while you're making plans?
Time is passing.
Thank you very much. The mountain has moved, and you were sitting at Mount Kilimanjaro ready to climb it, and you were writing down all of the details, and next thing you know, the mountain has moved. Where's the mountain? The mountain is gone. The mountain is gone. Life is what happens to you. What did he call? When he had a great line in a song, John Lennon. Life is what happens to you when you're busy making plans, right? Life is what happens to you when you're busy making plans. So you're planning. Next thing you know, they're playing taps. So that's what the Rebbe was very worried about. Don't do that. Envision where you want to be and just get there. Somehow you'll be able to get there. You want to get to the Mount Kilimanjaro? That's going to be, so you're going to see, the Rebbe is going to, we'll see later on in cases, that just by envisioning, just by thinking about where I want to be, that itself is going to push you to get up there. That itself. So that took care of the bottom up. What about the inside out? Remember, we talked about if you want to have an effect on everybody around you, what's the classical approach? Inside out. First of all, heal yourself. Okay? And once you're healed, then everybody around you can take care of. So how did the Rebbe approach the inside out issue? He said also, what are you so worried about inside out? You're so worried, about perfecting yourself. Let's just say you have a job to do. Okay? And then Rebbe, we'll talk about, a teacher. Someone wrote into the Rebbe that, people are asking him to teach, but he can't because he doesn't feel ready. Huh? Okay? So the inside out approach would be, what do you do? First, get the lesson plan ready. Know everything about the subject. Then go out there and teach it. The Rebbe said, what are you kidding me? First of all, that you ask me about, teaching Torah, and then you say to yourself, you have to beautify yourself and then beautify others. First of all, why should your students suffer? Why should your students suffer that you're not ready? Do it. You do as much as you can get ready and teach them. But you know what? The fact that you're going to say to yourself, you know what? No, I'm not ready because I need to master the subject. I need to know every detail about the subject. Then I'm going to be ready to teach it. It's false. It's false. You know what's going to happen? You're never going to teach. Okay? You're never going to teach. So the Rebbe says, you know what? You know enough, get out there and teach it. Then you got to better yourself, go out and teach it. Better yourself, go out, keep teaching. That itself will perfect you. Because you know what? The Alter Rebbe, when he wrote the Tanya, why did he write the book of the Tanya? Tanya is one of the most famous books in the Hasidic world. It's called the Bible of Hasidic philosophy. What is it? It's a book to how we can achieve the best that we can be in a spiritual sense. That you know what, people were writing into him, and the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, writes in his introduction that look, the community has grown. I used to be able to meet with everybody individually. I used to listen to everybody's issues, and I would be able to prescribe a lesson plan for everybody. I can't. I just can't anymore. The community is way too big, and I can't meet everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a book, and from this book is going to be the answers to all of your questions. Literally all of your questions. And all you need to do is take this book and go through it. Now, since many of you are not going to be able to follow the book, I'm asking people in every little town who can to teach this book, to teach the Tanya. And I don't want to hear what he calls shiflu shel sheker, unwarranted humility. Who am I to teach? Who am I to teach? This is false humility, okay? I don't want to hear that. If you can, I want you out there and you teach it. Now, does it mean that you will understand the context of this book as well as the Alter Rebbe? Of course not. You'll never understand the context of the book as well as the Alter Rebbe, because he was brilliant and he was a genius. And we're just regular people. But if you have the opportunity to teach it, go out there and teach it. And then don't worry about don't worry about beautifying yourself, and then you'll go out to beautify others. Because when you get that into your head, what happens? You'll never get out there to teach it. So even the inside-out approach, the Rebbe turned on its head. Said, don't worry about first fixing yourself. If you can, go out there and influence people, even if you know, and the Rebbe used to say, even if you know one aleph, think about this. You learned one Hebrew letter, one aleph, go out there and teach it. Go out there, find someone that doesn't know an aleph. Then you go back home and you learn the beis. Go out there and teach the beis. Then you learn the gimel. Go out there and learn the gimel. Teach the gimel. Don't wait. Because now I say to myself, no. I can't. I have to first know all of the details of the entire subject. I got to be fluent in it, like Einstein was fluent in his theory of relativity. You're never going to get there. So just go out there. So the Rebbe took both of these classical approaches. The bottom up, which is no stages, slowly but surely, you're going to go up there, climb each rung. The Rebbe said, no. Leap the rungs, right? Don't go 1, 2, 3, go 1, 7, 7, 12, 12, 15, keep leaping. Go. Don't look down. That's another thing. Once you're climbing the ladder, what happens to people? I used to tell a story of his father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, that was in Europe, in Lubavitch, was a small town he grew up in. And in this town, there was this tall tree that everyone tried to climb the tree. No one was able to. Got halfway up this. He climbed the tree up on top. So when they asked him, how were you able to do it? He said, I never looked down. See, most kids, when they go up, they start looking down. And as they get further from the ground, what happens? They get scared. So halfway up, I always looked up. Nothing to be afraid of. So you keep going up. The same thing is true about this idea. If the Rebbe says leap, just keep leaping and keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on top of that mountain. Remember your goal. Remember where you want to get to. Forget about what's behind you. Because if you're going to think, I haven't gotten anywhere, or I'm so far away from safety, my safety net, I'm out there teaching. What am I doing here? As a matter of fact, what am I doing here, sitting here teaching tonight? What?
You're leaping.
I'm leaping. That's right. I have no right to be sitting over here and teaching you. But you know what? I said, I want to stay away from Chani, or she wants to stay away from me. So she said, you know what? For the next hour, you go in there and you and talk and teach them. But that's what it is. That's what it is. That's the whole idea of, you know what? Not inside out, but outside in. Outside in. Because why? Because number one, the Rebbe said, I don't want to hear this idea of you not wanting to teach because you're not ready. Why should you punish your students? Why punish your students? Your students are not they're not at a loss. You made a commitment to teach. Get out there and teach. But the second part of the answer is even more incredible. The first part is also incredible because the Rebbe pushes you. Okay? So what the Rebbe is saying is, remember, when you face a challenge and you're thinking to yourself, how can I overcome this challenge? Don't ask yourself this question. Don't ask the question of, how do I become a good teacher? Because then you'll start taking classes, you'll get bogged down. That's not the question. Your only question that you should ask yourself is, what do my students need right now? That's it. What do my students need right now? If you just flip the question, instead of focusing so much on your self-perfection and dealing with what's needed out there, because remember, what did we say before in the beginning of the class? What were the two ideals that the Rebbe was driven by? Number one was this God conscious, and number two is mission conscious, that everyone has a mission. Just like himself. When the Rebbe in 1950, when his father-in-law passed away, he was quite comfortable in a library. That's what he loved. If you put him in a library with 100,000 books, that would have been his dream, because he could learn and sit and learn all day and just wallow in the beauty of study. And he had a brain that could absorb all 100,000 books. But when it came time to lead the organization, what did he have to do? A leap. He had to leap. He had to say to himself, look, This is what I have to do this. I have to do this. Am I comfortable? Was this my first choice? No, but this is my destiny. I have to do it. So when we came to, like, when I talked to you about the example of a doctor, right? When a doctor says to you, go out there and, cut down on your carbs and stop smoking and do a little more exercise, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That was the Rebbe. Rebbe was giving advice that he himself took. When he said, get out of your comfort zone, you get out of your comfort zone. Are you not ready to teach? Or what do you think? And I was. He was all of 40, 19, he was born in 1902, so in 1950, he was 48 years old. That's a kid. I mean, I'm not a kid, but it's a young man. 48 is a young man. You had to break out of his comfort zone, and he had to lead, and he had to get up there, week after week, and speak, and encourage, and teach, and so what he said to everybody, he himself experienced. He himself experienced that leap. But here's the second part of the answer to the letter that this guy wrote in, that he's not ready to teach. So the first part we talked about, Rebbe said, what's your student's fault? Get out there. You're going to punish your students because you're not ready? Secondly, now this is incredible again. Secondly, the Rebbe says, when you set the goal of beautify yourself, meaning I'm ready, I want to be the best teacher, I want to beautify myself, you must seek and exploit all possible methods and means of increasing your success. Meaning, right? You want to beautify yourself? Meaning you got to go out there and you got to get the best teachers to teach you how to teach, best pedagogical methods, all of these things. Now, when you are acutely aware that you will soon face numerous individuals, you're going to get up there in the blackboard, and you will have to discuss important topics with them, right? So you think to yourself, I'm going to get up there in front of a classroom, I'm going to start teaching. Listen to this statement. That awareness will itself most certainly assist you. Just the fact that you know that you got to get up there and to perform, that knowledge of you getting up there to perform, that's going to help you in your battle for self-improvement and make your victory far quicker and easier. Meaning that coming this Tuesday, you're going to get up there in front of 50 kids in 6th grade. And they're going to, and you're going to have to teach. That itself, knowing that you're going to have to get in front of them, is going to do what to you? Spur you, motivate you, encourage you. So the Rebbe is not only talking to you about your kids, that the kids are going to benefit, even if you're not at the best possible level yet. But you yourself will know. Now, what is going to push you? What is going to encourage you? The fact that you got to get out there, out of your shell, in there, and boom, and do it. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, you think to yourself, I'm going to beautify myself, and I'm going to wait till beautify others. Beautifying yourself, yes, I'm agreeing with you. Beautify yourself. But now, time to go. Get out. And that getting out is because you made a commitment to get out there into the world. Now, you don't have to be a professional teacher. What the Rebbe is talking about is to every single individual, that part of being a human being, and part of being part of a community, and part of being part of a shul, and part of being part of the Jewish nation, is this idea of interaction with other people and going out there and encouraging other people the same way. This is what the whole idea of outreach that the Rebbe had. In any kind of a situation. But Rebbe, don't but Rebbe me. Don't but Rebbe me. Okay? I did it. I got out there. I, got out of myself. You can do the same thing. And you're going to be a Rebbe? No, you'll never be a Rebbe. But what you're going to do is you're going to perfect yourself. You're going to be a good teacher. And if you keep teaching and you keep teaching, you keep working at yourself, guess what's going to happen at the end? You're going to be, and the same thing is true in every endeavor that we try. Want to be a better mother? You want to be a better wife? You want to be a better things? Stop overthinking it, okay? And stop preparing for the preparation. I'm going to prepare. Okay, now I'm going to start with the stages. No, I'm not ready. Stage 1. Okay, now stage 1 is going to be like perfect yourself. It's going to take me 11 years. And 11 years have passed by. I never got to stage number 2.
It reminds me of Rabbi Dr. Tversky spoke about how he had to do hypnosis on his patient. Then he really didn't know how but he would study like the night before or something, and then he would go and do it. So it was very brief time, and then the doing educated him, because the patients needed it right now.
And it's exactly the same thing. Exactly. He knew that there's a job to be done. You know what? I got to get to it. I have to do whatever I can to do it and do it. Because that doing it, we always think, that emotion creates motion. That's what we think. That, when I'll be in a good frame of mind and I'm going to be, in the zone, then I'm going to get out of my chair and I'm going to start exercising. Wrong. It's exactly the opposite. Motion creates emotion. Meaning, if you move, you're going to create something inside of you. Just move. Just go. Do something. And this is true both physically, right? Because think about it. You can think a million years about getting out of the chair, but unless you do what? Get out of the chair. Okay, you're never going to get out of the chair. So number one is you could think a million years about getting out of the chair. You won't get out of the chair till you get out of the chair. Getting out of the chair will cause already emotion. Meaning that if I'm willing to get out there and take a walk, ride a bike, to do something, I'm going to start feeling better about myself. This is true also emotionally and spiritually. You see, instead of thinking to myself, no, when I'm in the zone, then I'm going to be able to, no. Take, for example, one of the easiest and most beautiful mitzvahs there are, lighting Shabbos candles. So it's such a simple, easy mitzvah of doing it. And you could spend a lifetime thinking about it. Oh, you know what? It's such a beautiful mitzvah. But why do we have the mitzvah? And then start looking at the sources of the mitzvah. And then going through the history of the mitzvah. And then going through the controversy. Should my daughter light candles? Should she not light candles? How many candles should I light? What is the meaning of it? What it is? Does everybody have to do it? What's the right time to do it? So you could go through a litany of text dedicated to the lighting of Shabbos candles till you become the world's expert on the history and the halacha, the legal law about lighting Shabbos candles. What kind of oil can you use? What kind of wicks can you use? Should you use wax? And guess what? You have never performed the mitzvah. Never. Because you were so busy doing what? Planning. One day when I understand what the mitzvah of lighting Shabbos candles, I'll light Shabbos candles. What the Rebbe says is, light the candle. Okay? Just light the candle. Okay? Stop procrastinating. It's 6:50. That Shabbos is coming in. It's the time to light candles. Light the candle. Everything else, all of the text and all of the literature and all of the history around it, you'll have plenty of time to worry about it. Now, what's the job at hand? Light the candle. That's it. End of discussion. And that was the Rebbe's approach. The Rebbe's approach was not bottom up, inside out, but it was top down and outside in. Meaning, just like he mentioned to this teacher, the very fact that you're going to be standing in front of a classroom, the very fact that you have this responsibility, that itself is going to drive you to be the best that you can possibly. You don't want to flub it. And I don't know if anybody's ever been in sales and corporate sales, but you know that when you have a presentation to give, right? You have a presentation to give. That fact that you know that Wednesday morning, the 6 clients are going to be sitting there, they're sending all the big bosses from around the country to listen to your sales pitch, and your big bosses are sitting in the room, and you have to get up there. That itself is the motivating thing. Now, you think that you're going to prepare. That preparation is very good. Don't get me wrong. Don't come into a meeting, a sales meeting, unprepared. But the fact that you are there, that's going to drive the preparedness. That's going to drive it. And you know what's going to give you a good presentation? Doing it. That's what's going to do. Doing the presentation. Sitting there and just thinking to myself, I got to prepare, I got to do the presentation, and then worrying about it is going to do nothing about it. Just get out there and do it. And that is, like the Rebbe writes in clause number 2 to this teacher, that itself is going to motivate you. So again, what the Rebbe is doing is a completely different approach. You know what? Approach number 1, the classical approach, is worrying about yourself and how you are going to fit into the scheme. Approach number 2 is, what can I do to your needs? What needs do you have? Then I better myself. Then I'm going to rise myself up. Then I'm going to go out there and do the best job that I possibly can. One of the great mitzvahs in the Torah, one of the truly great mitzvahs of the Torah is charity. Charity is, to some people, very, very testing. Very testing. It's a challenge. Not everybody likes to just write that check. Some people have a natural ability to do it. They're asked, wait, check, boom, make a pledge, pay it off. Other people make a pledge, then don't return your calls, move out of town, run away, change their name, join the FBI protection, witness protection, as long as you can, not knowing that we'll follow you to the ends of the earth. You know the famous story, like the people were going on a ship and they got shipwrecked and there were only two of them on this island. And one guy says to the other guy, we're going to be stuck here. The guy says, don't worry, we're going to be found. He says, how are you so certain we're going to be found? I made a pledge to Chabad. He'll find us. Don't worry. He'll find us. We'll be saved. So to some people, this charity, so the Torah knows that it's challenging. You make all of this money and then, a poor guy comes to you with his outstretched hand. So the Torah says like this. Numero uno is at minimum a person should give is 10%. That's called tithing. Then, Meiser, in Hebrew comes from the word Esser, 1/10. Better is 1/5. If you could give 1/5 of your earnings, that's already good. They'll give it. Then there's the concept of charity by judgment. Meaning that what do? I sit down and I figure to myself like this. I have a family, but no, most of my kids are married already and they're out of the house. I don't support them. So what I do, it's just me and my wife. So me and my wife, I'm making X amount of dollars. What do me and my wife need to live? Half of what I make. So that's all I need. So the other half I give away. This is called charity by judgment. It's incredible. I mean, you just keep to yourself everything that you need, just what you need, and the rest you give away. It's great, right? I mean, you applaud these kind of people, that do it. But still, in the Torah tells us that even charity by judgment, even giving away, is still limited because you're still making an accounting of how much you're going to give away. So even if it's 60%, which is, think about that. Means if I make $100,000 a year, I keep 40 and I give away 60,000. Who would not claim that this guy is a great guy? Everyone, you'd admit that this guy giving away 60% of his money, that's a little mishigah, but that's pretty good, right? But still the Torah says it's limited, because why? You still need an accounting. What is the real highest level of charity? So we say in the Shema, I love you, God, with all of my money. Meaning that at the end of the day, when you see a poor person, the greatest level of charity is not even to think about how much money you have, but to look at that poor person, see the need of that poor person, and take care of that poor person without ever thinking of yourself and making any kind of an accounting of what you have and how much you have and what you give. Because your driving force, just like the Rebbe said to the teacher, is your students. That's the motivating factor. That's what you have to think of. That's what's going to make you better. The same thing is true about the poor person. When you see a poor person and he has a need, what you do is you go out there and fill that need. Then that need, it may only be 10% of your money. It may be even less than 10% of your money. It may be 20%. That doesn't matter, because you were not thinking about yourself at the time. All you were thinking of is what? The needs of somebody else. So if the guy needs a new suit, if the guy needs a new pair of shoes, the guy needs a new hat, the guy needs a raincoat, the guy needs an umbrella, the guy needs a food, whatever he needs, you're ready and willing to do it. It may only cost you a few dollars, or it may cost you a lot of dollars. It doesn't matter. You were ready to take care of the situation without any kind of accounting on your own. This is what the Rebbe's approach is, Lechatchila Rebbe. That's what the Rebbe Marash said, the fourth Rebbe said, that most people first see a challenge, they see a poor person, we're going to first figure out what do I have? How much do I have in my pocket? And then I can see what I can share with him. That's, going under. Okay? I say, go over. Don't think about it. Take the leap. Get out there. What do you need, sir? You need pants? Let's go. You need a jacket? Let's go. Let's go. without accounting. That's lechatchila Rebbe. That's making the leap over immediately. Sometimes it may cost you a little more than you anticipated, but you know what? If you're mission driven, like the Rebbe always was, that you find yourself and that poor person is looking in your eyes and he's relying on you to do that, guess what? Means that Hashem has set aside some of your money to help this guy. And you and me, we are the lucky recipients to be the messenger of helping this poor guy out. It's a completely different approach to what we were having before, by step. And that way, when if you do that, and you don't get bogged down in the details, and you don't tell yourself, you know what, how am I going to do it, and how is this going to get done? You know, you say to yourself, there's a goal, it needs to be done, I'm out there, and boom, I'm doing it. So no bottom up, and no inside out. It's top to bottom, and outside in. That's what's going to happen. You are going to help me become the best person that I can be. You are going to help me become the very best person that I can be. By knowing that I have to get out there and face you, that's going to prepare me. Now I have to go out to the world and do something, that's going to make the best that I'm going to be. Not that I think to myself, okay, you know what? When I'm ready, I'm going to go. No, you're going to go. I grew up in Montreal, Canada. I went to a yeshiva that was run by 9 Holocaust survivors that the previous Rebbe sent there in 1942. They were all single guys, yeshiva students. They came from China because China had taken in some refugees. They came to Canada. The previous Rebbe arranged for their visas and wanted them to start a Chabad community in Montreal. They knew no English. They were all Polish. They came from a yeshiva. They were students, and they established a Chabad, the Chabad school in Montreal, the school that I went to. Okay? Now, they were successful. They made a building. This money was running short, so they wrote the Rebbe a letter saying, "You know what? How do we deal with the finances? What should we do? How should we look at a budget?" So the Rebbe said to him, "I already a few times discussed it with you." That normal organizations do what? Normal organizations sit down, they look around the table. How much money do we have? We have $40,000. We cannot do any programming more than $40,000. That is our limit. Forget about it. Okay, that's it. We have $40,000. We do $40,000 to work. We're a school. We can spend $40,000, which means we can give 3 scholarships this year. Okay, I told the Rebbe writes to them, this is not our approach. Okay, that's the approach of bottom up. First you're accounting, and then you fit the budget to what you have in the bank. No. Our approach is figure out what it's going to be to get every kid into school. Okay, what's it going to cost to get every kid into school? You want a school of 500 kids, you write down, okay, 500 kids, we're going to get, let's say, $1 million of tuition, and we're going to get another $150,000, from government grants. That's going to leave us a deficit of $700,000. That's where you go. That's where you go. That's where you go. Not that, you know what, I have 400,000 or I have $1 million, I'm only going to spend $1 million. No. Our approach is going to be the needs of the people. Go out there, find the needs, how many kids you're going to fill up your classrooms in, and then more. Then you're going to build more classrooms, of course. But figure out how many kids are going to be in each classroom, 25 kids, 30 kids, 50 kids. Then figure out what it's going to cost you. You have a deficit? Now you know what your job is. Get out there and raise it. And because you did it, because you made that commitment that you are going to allow all these kids in your school and you're going to go out there and raise the deficit, that's going to raise you the deficit. But if you sit there and you say to yourself, okay, I'm comfortable with $40,000, next year it's going to be 30, then the next 20, 10, and you can close your school. Okay? My father was a poor man, didn't have much money. I still have the receipts. Cost him $25 a month for my tuition. Think about that. $25 a month. And he would walk in there with his check at the first of every month. I remember him going to the office and giving, the lady there, the bookkeeper, the check. And she would take a receipt in those days and they would write, Mr. Perlmutter, $25 tuition, and give him the receipt. And that's the way it was. And Rabbi Kramer, who ran the yeshiva, allowed my father to send me for $25 a month. I mean, it was like he was giving my father $25 a month. He would have done it because he understood that, you know what, that a kid needs to be educated. And if it means me having to go out there and raising the money, that's the way it's going to be. Now, if my father can afford more, okay, maybe he would pay more. There were other people in my class that were giving much more than my father. But this was the Rebbe's approach to every situation. Look at the need, find the need, then calculate the need, and then go do it. You're sitting in Long Beach. He would say to us, "You're sitting in Long Beach. Okay, find out how many Jews it's going to be able to fit into your shul. Then build a shul that's going to be enough to fit the people. Well, it's going to cost you $5 million. Okay, you'll get the $5 million. We think God is going to let you stay hanging? Get out there and do it. Don't say to yourself, well, I have $11, so I can fit everybody in a phone booth. I'm going to buy a phone booth, and we're all going to fit in one little phone booth, and we're going to be very, very comfortable in a phone booth. Why? Because the Rebbe's approach was lechatchila Rebbe. Everybody says, no. First go under and then make the leap. I say, no. Lechatchila, go for the leap. And if you go for the leap, you know what? Hashem is going to find a way to help you out. Just like we talked about last week, or if you remember, did I mention to you? I don't remember if I mentioned to you the story of, it might have only come around this week. So I had a colleague that ended up in Northern California. He had a very tough time. His community was hard. Nothing was going right. Money was not around. He couldn't raise any money. And then worst of all, he got this immune deficiency, a disease where literally his body was being attacked. And he couldn't even walk anymore. I remember the times when I would see him, he would be in a chair, and so he was sick, no money, no community support. He wrote the Rebbe a letter and said to the Rebbe, I'm asking you to please relieve me of my mission.
Yes.
Yep. Relieve me. Did I tell you this last week?
The mission.
And
Rebbe can't relieve him.
Thank you.
Mission.
Thank you. Yes, there you go, Kim. Thank you.
Great story.
Because
I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it. So what the Rebbe said was to him, I can't relieve you of your mission because your mission is your destiny. So what do I mean? Taking away your mission and taking away your destiny is taking away your existence. Well, I'm going to take away your life. I can't do that. But if you ask me to help you take away the difficulties, the challenges, then I'm game. Then I'm game for it. Then let's see how we can do it. The guy got healthy. The guy started to thrive. Started to raise money, build a community. He had a second wind, and now he's flourishing. All because the Rebbe took his perspective and just changed it a little bit. Instead of thinking to yourself, how am I going to do this? Well, listen, we're here. We're going to figure out a way together how to get this done. Lechatchila Ariber. Take the leap. The leap is going to be what's going to make you successful. Now, there are some people that deal better in this than others. Some people have the capacity that they could live with a deficit, but the Rebbe always said that whatever your deficit is going to be, that's a kind of what is going to be your threshold. You're not going to be the guy that's going to be $20 million in the debt like some other people were and survived and relied on miracles. But again, don't think to yourself that because I'm going to go slowly and surely, that's when I'm going to reach the end. Like the tortoise and the hare, 99% of the time, you know who wins? The hare. Okay, we hear the story of the tortoise winning. Oh, okay, great. Oh, yeah, the tortoise winning. I want a rematch. Okay, I want a rematch. And this time, guess what the hare is not doing? Taking a nap. Okay, he's not taking a nap. So, like they said, there's some people saying, in a rematch, the good money is on Goliath. Okay, you got me the first time, but the second time, may not be so lucky, and as the first time. So, so the approach of slowly but surely, even though I've preached it always the time, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. That's not a contradiction to this. The Rebbe still wants you to create atrocha. The Rebbe still wants you to beautify yourself. He wants you to be better, but he doesn't want you to overthink it and get bogged down in all these details where you're going to get paralyzed. Because if you go inch by inch, what happens is by the third inch, you say, I'm tired. So you never get to the yard. Now, if you're constantly moving an inch by an inch by an inch by an inch, yeah, that's great. That's beautiful. Because you know what? You're moving. But what happens to most people, and I don't have to say this from theory, because I could tell you that statistics will tell us, on January the 1st, 80% of Americans do what? Make a resolution. By January 15th, figure out how many of those resolutions are still valid. Like Kim did. No, yeah, very few. Okay? Because why? Because most people did what approach? The classical. They started slow. I'm going to go slow, and I'm going to do, first day I'm going to lift 3 ounces, and then the fourth day 4 ounces, like this. The Rebbe's approach is, think where you want to be. Think where you want to be. You want to be a scholar? You want to learn how to read Hebrew? Visualize yourself sitting in shul and davening. That's going to be you. You're going to be sitting in the shul and davening. You're going to be saying the Haftorah at your bar mitzvah. You visualize yourself that I'm going to be up there in the shul and I'm going to read that Haftorah and everybody's going to be there. And at the end of the Haftorah, they're all going to clap and they're going to be so joyous. And I know it's going to be fearful. I know it's going to be a challenge. But you know what? That knowledge that you're going to have to get up there in front of the congregation and read the Haftorah, that itself is going to motivate you to do the best job that you possibly, can do it. But if you sit there and think to yourself every day, I can't. Not in your case. No, I'm going to think if you just say to yourself, I can't. That's already a self-defeating prophecy. And once you have a self-defeating prophecy, it's all over. So,
what happened to the rabbi became better
with the finances,
immune efficient, whatever.
Which one? The rabbi in the yeshiva? Yeah, listen, he went out till his last day. He was still raising money, and all my friends went through yeshiva. I know, was it easy for him? No, it wasn't easy. And sometimes the teachers had to wait for a paycheck, and sometimes it was tough, and sometimes he had to fight with the teachers, But at the end of the day, his philosophy was, I got a responsibility that I got to teach the most kids possible. That's going to be my responsibility. Same thing is true here with the Hebrew Academy that we have over here. That if you ask the administration, you ask Rabbi Newman, he will tell you that his job is to educate every kid. That's the goal of the school. How he's going to do it, Hashem is going to help him. You bring me your kids, I'll take care of them. Tuition helps. Tuition helps. Don't take advantage. Tuition helps, but that's what it is. And we see that's over and over and over again, that when we first decide to do something and get things done, things then seem to be rolling, afterwards. Same thing was true when the Rebbe said like this. When the Rebbe said in 1967, just before the 6-Day War, the Rebbe started what he called a mitzvah tefillin campaign to make sure that the soldiers, starting with the soldiers, they should put on tefillin every day. Okay, why? What did he pick tefillin for? So the Talmud makes a statement that, when people will see the tefillin, when the nations of the world will look upon you and they will fear you, the Talmud says this is the tefillin on the head, when the nations will see you. So the Rebbe took that seriously because he was a God and mission driven person. And he said, let's get to the soldiers and by extension to everybody. People started to wonder, what is the meaning of this? This is what we began to appreciate the theory of the partial mitzvah. Meaning the Rebbe said that every time someone does something good, even one time, has a lasting, infinite effect on the world. So if someone puts on tefillin one time in his life, that's effective. That's effective. First of all, it'll save him from who knows what after he passes away. He put on tefillin once, and you never, ever, ever know what the effect is going to be down the road. You put on tefillin once, he may put on tefillin again. He may never put on tefillin again. It doesn't matter. Going there and doing that is the theory of the partial mitzvah. Because others said, what? You know what it means to put on tefillin? You have to be in the right frame of mind. You got to be in the right locale. You're standing there in the middle of New York City, Fifth Avenue, in the middle of the street, rolling up the guy's sleeve and putting on tefillin. It makes sense. It doesn't make any sense to anybody. What's the purpose of all of this? That the Rebbe kept saying, I'm telling you, the idea is get the person to put on tefillin. Later on, who knows what the effect is going to be down the line? But get him to do one mitzvah. Then he went from tefillin and he kept going. Then he added the mitzvah of bringing books into your house. Make sure that you have a Jewish home needs holy books. A Chumash, a Siddur, a set of Mishnayos, a Tanya, the Talmud. Why? Because God, maybe, could be that one day you'll be sitting on your couch and you'll be looking at your bookshelf and you're going to see that you just spent $500 on a brand new set of books. You may get up, go to the bookshelf, take it out, open it up, and then start learning Torah, which is another thing there said, study Torah, which is another mitzvah. Then he added the mitzvah of charity, to give charity every single day. Then he added the mitzvah of mezuzah, of putting a mezuzah up, of keeping kosher, slowly but surely, one mitzvah. But then people were saying to him, but Rebbe, what about the idea of, this person's not even religious. Why should we kosher his house? He eats out. So he eats out. So what? That's your business? Your business is to kosher his house. He's going to keep kosher at home. The fact he eats out, maybe he'll stop eating out. Maybe you'll be so inspirational to him and you're going to kosher his house. He'll say to himself, really? It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to sit over here. I'm going to be eating here and then go eat out. No. So the theory of the partial mitzvahs, get someone to do one mitzvah. Just get him to do one mitzvah. That's all. Without having to explain to them a million times what the purpose of the mitzvah is. Because if you get bogged down in that boondoggle of saying, I'm only going to do something only after I understand every aspect of it, every angle of it, every reason for it, guess when you're going to do it? Never. When are you going to perform the mitzvah? You're going to perform the mitzvah when you do it. Go out there and do it. That's why Nike got that thing. Just do it. They knew it, that this is going to be a way to get people to do whatever they want them to do. Buy shoes, buy equipment, buy a hat, buy a shirt, whatever it's going to do. That swoosh puts you in your head, just go out there and do it. And that was the Rebbe's approach. Even though that he got backlash, what are you doing? You're taking yeshiva students, you're sending them out to the streets of New York and you're having them wrap tefillin. You can't imagine. First of all, two things happens. Number one, the effect on the person that the tefillin goes on their arm. Or the Shabbos candle that the mother and the daughter light. That's it. But the effect that it had on yeshiva students, it made me, young guys, timid guys, shy guys, introverted guys, forced you to get out there in the street and start. It's not so pleasant for most people to start attacking people. Excuse me, are you Jewish? Yes. Did you put on tefillin? Not religious. Did I ask you if you were religious or not? Do I care if you're religious or not? I asked you if you put on tefillin. No? Okay. So we got the 2-minute drill. 2 minutes you can roll the guy's sleeve up, put the tefillin on, down his arm, on his head, shema, boom, thank you very much, have a wonderful day, move on. All right? It did wonders for the yeshiva students to do that. And also for the young ladies that went out there with the Shabbos candles, chasing. There was a lady that tells a story. The story's a famous story. She had her office building on Fifth Avenue, like in 34, some street over there. Okay? Every Friday, this mitzvah mobile would come up there, which we rented trucks, like these U-Haul trucks, put speakers on them, put in Jewish music, and blasted the Jewish music all over Fifth Avenue. She knew every week she's going to get a headache, because her office was right underneath this mitzvah mobile, and every Friday, every day, it would drive her crazy every Friday. Finally, she went on vacation, and she thought to herself, thank God, no mitzvah mobile this Friday. I'm sitting in the Swiss chalet. Hey, it's so quiet. Next thing she hears, a mitzvah truck comes up. She says, okay, you know what? I'm starting to light candles. This is a message from God. Okay, that if they're chasing me to Switzerland, it just happened to be that 2 students rented a truck and came to the chalet on that particular Friday that she was there. Coincidental? What did the Rebbe say? Never. Never. God directed this. Whether it was for this lady or for something else, God directed it. And she said to herself, that's it. That's it. I'm lighting Shabbos candles. And thousands of people, thousands of people changed their lives because of these mitzvah actions. The Rebbe explained, in a dark room, to make it light. Are you cold, Shoshana? You're cold?
I'm okay, Beseder.
Beseder, okay. So the Rebbe used to say, in a dark room, one little light dispels a lot of darkness. So you don't need a like a huge torch. If you want to light up the room, you get a couple of candles, the whole room will be lit. Same thing is true. You do one little mitzvah, it dispels darkness. You do another mitzvah, it dispels more darkness. Little by little, guess what? The darkness is dispelled. And that was his driving method and his driving force of going out there and to reaching people for 2 reasons. Number 1, to affect the people. And number 2, to affect us. And he always said, make no mistake, the time that you spend helping somebody else is time spent on helping yourself. It's not just, oh, look, I'm giving so much away to the community, nothing is coming my way. You are perfecting yourself in the process. Just like when we started the class with the teacher that was afraid to come up there because he didn't have the full, thing. No. You get up there, do the teaching. That's going to help you become the better person. And that was the Rebbe's approach, for self-perfection. You want to get better? Do 2 things. Make a resolution. View yourself as you're there already. Set the goal to the top of the mountain, and you'll find a way of getting to the mountain. Don't get bogged down by all of the details. You have to go. Look, say the Masuda. The Rebbe was not a person that was chaotic. He doesn't want you to live a chaotic life, and I'm leaping, and I'm not making any sense. I'm not gaining anywhere, because believe me, a lot of people do busy work. You ask people, I'm so busy. Are you accomplishing anything? No, but I'm busy. I'm very busy. I'm busy with nothing. The Rebbe didn't want that either. Just being leaping and getting nowhere. You're leaping like a goat. You're just leaping along. Now the Rebbe wanted also to be able to be accomplished. So you need both approaches. You need that leap and you need that process to keep going in the right direction. Just leaping around in darkness is not going to help you. You'll just bump your head in the wall and you're not going to get anywhere. So you need both approaches, but don't get bogged down to the point that, that I'm stuck and I'm petrified and now I can't move. So if you had to sum it up, you'd have to sum it up like this. The Rebbe was a man of tremendous optimism, meaning that in every situation, the Rebbe tried to the best of his ability to find the most positive things that you can find in the circumstances. I remember one time when Jonathan Sachs, the great former chief rabbi of Great Britain, just a brilliant man, went into the Rebbe and he said to the Rebbe, in circumstances, the Rebbe said, not the circumstances you find yourself in, the circumstances that I have created. Not just we just found. You've created a circumstance and you could create other circumstances because we are a mission. So the Rebbe was always, number 1, very optimistic. You know what? He saw in everybody and in all situations, an avenue that we can succeed. We can succeed. We can be the best that we can possibly be. Is it easy? Was the Rebbe's program easy? No. Because the Rebbe also was never satisfied. Meaning that if you came to the Rebbe and you said to the Rebbe, guess what, we just built a shul. The Rebbe said, where's the mikveh? And if you got a mikveh, the Rebbe said, where's the school? And if there was a school, he said, where's the other shul? And then you just, keep going. Keep driving, being driven, just get doing out there. But number 2, the Rebbe found meaning in everything. The circumstance that we find ourselves in, even when they were unlucky circumstances, even when they were negative circumstances, the Rebbe always found some meaning inside of it. Sometimes there were very, very, very difficult circumstances. You lose a loved one. It's not so easy. right? You're sitting there and you're mourning the loved one, and the Rebbe is asking you to please to find some kind of meaning, some kind of positive way that we can do this. The Rebbe was that, and the Rebbe wanted that, and the Rebbe meant that, and the Rebbe himself had suffered in his life. His father and his mother were sent to Siberia. His father was the chief rabbi of a big city, Dnepropetrovsk, and he was sent to Almaty in Kazakhstan, where he died in exile, poor and broken and hungry, but he tried to the best of his ability. So the Rebbe hadn't seen him in years. He didn't see his father. So he lost his father. His mother survived the war, and she came to New York, and she lived in New York City. The Rebbe went to visit her every day. Every day he spent a few minutes with his mother while she was alive, and she got to see him being the Rebbe. So you can imagine, her joy and her nachas, coming to a Farbrengen and seeing her son lead the community. But he treated her like royally, like literally like royally. And he lost brother. His other brother died in the 50s. So and his sister-in-law, brother-in-law perished in the Holocaust. So he himself saw personal tragedy in his life. And then he had all of these letters and all of these challenges of the community. So there was good reason for him to be very negative and morose, but he never allowed that himself to do that. He was always positive, optimistic, pushing, find meaning, find purpose. And that's the way we're going to live the best kind of a life. That's what Hashem wanted from us. That's what Hashem wanted. I remember reading in a letter one time, that someone, a doctor, had l'chaim. And the doctor, he wanted to do something for the community, so he made a Torah. He dedicated a Torah for the community. It's a beautiful venture, and he made a big party. And at the party, one of his best friends, a woman, died at the party. Had a heart attack. He was a doctor. He couldn't save her. At the party, she wrote the Rebbe a letter. Why? Why did Hashem do this? Make a party, say for Torah, and then has a lady die there, and the whole thing, So the Rebbe told him, listen, the fact that she died is out of our purview. What could we do? Life and death is in the hands of Hashem. Hashem could have done it a number of different ways. You're right. He could have had her die at home alone, or could have had her die some other way. But what he did was that the last few minutes of her life, she was in the presence of someone that she cared and who cared for her. So as her soul was ascending to heaven, she at least had the comfort of knowing that you were there for her, and you were, I don't know if you were holding her, but you were there in her presence, and she died at least knowing that there's someone there that loves her and cares for her. So think of it in that, in that way. Now you can ask a question, God could have not killed her there. God could have not have taken her there. Yes, but that's not our business. That we can't ask that question because that's not in our purview. Our purview is the best thing that we can do under the circumstances. She passes away in my arms. She passes away in my presence. I think to myself, you know what? Thank you, Hashem, for giving me the opportunity of saying goodbye to her and letting her know that, there were people in the world that loved her and cared for her and were there at her last moment. Would we have rather have her alive? Yes. But guess what? That's not an option because we're not God. What we can do is always react to the experiences that we have. And that's what the Rebbe was always talking about. Going out there, thinking about what your mission is in the world, doing it. Believe me, along the way, if you're committed and you're going to go out there, you are going to see that there's going to be so many avenues that are going to open up for you. It's just absolutely amazing. And it's true. I can tell you from personal experiences, I'm sure you could tell me from your personal experiences, that if you go out there and you have a campaign and you think to yourself, I have to raise $100,000 or $200,000, how am I going to do it? If you're out there and you're serious and you're dedicated to it, somehow things happen. You meet a guy, comes into shul, you never saw him before. Those are the little miracles that happens, and just gives you, just does it. You needed $1,000, and all of a sudden a guy decides to pay his pledge that he was holding on to for a while. You needed that 1,000, and he delivered the 1,000 on that day. And those little avenues open up when you are out there in your conscience. And the same thing is true for bettering yourself. You surround yourself with better people. You surround yourself with people that are willing to grow with you. You surround yourself with people that are committed to your benefit, that help you along the way. And when we do that, we live a beautiful, purposeful, meaningful life. Now, easy said than done. We all know that, right? It's easy said than done. You'd say we could talk about it, but the key is that if we practice, if we exercise what we need to do, there's no question we will be successful. We will go out there and we will live a beautiful life. And who doesn't want to do that? Who doesn't want to do that? If I told you that if you take step 1, 2, 3, and 4, that you'll be okay, you'll be living better. But the only thing the Rebbe couldn't do is what? Make you. That's it. The Rebbe could not make anybody do it. If you didn't want to do it, I'm sorry. Same thing as God. God is Kol Yachol. God is all powerful. But one thing He's not going to do, He's not going to force you. That has to come from you. I mean, He'll give you opportunity. He'll provide good friends, good teachers. But the ultimate decision has to be you to go out there and do it. And that's the same thing that's true with the Rebbe's advice. The Rebbe could give a blessing. The Rebbe could give you good advice. The Rebbe could show you the way. But until you make that decision to do it, it's just like we read today in one of the little books that we have, a Yom Yom, is that a Rebbe's blessing is like a field that was plowed and planted. So think about this. Think about rain. We pray every time in the Amidah for rain. Please send rain, early rain, late rain, late. Now think about this for a second. You pray for rain because you have a field and you want it to grow, right? What if you decided, I'm not doing anything? Okay? Let God take care of it. He's all powerful. Let Him take care of my field. What do I got to go out there and plow and then plant? What happens to the rain? What does it do? Thank you, Kim. It makes mud. It does nothing for your field. If you did nothing, what do you get in return? Nothing. What if you went out there and did something? Worked the field, plowed the field, planted the field. Now the rain comes, the early rain, then the late rain. What happens to your field? Blossoms. Same thing is true with the Rebbe's blessing. The Rebbe's blessing is going to work if you're willing to take the blessing and to make it happen. But if you're not willing to do that, I mean, if you're just going to say to yourself, okay, I came to the classes, listen good, okay, but have a good day, see you later, and go back to the same old, then it's good. But if we're willing to take some of the lessons we learned the past 6 weeks and integrate them into our lives, the ones that were more pertinent to you, perhaps you don't have a health problem, thank God. So don't worry about that. Perhaps you don't have familial issues. You get along with your wife. Okay? Okay. Yeah, then you don't have to worry. You have a wonderful relationship with your children. Forget about that. But this last one, today's lesson, is prevalent and pertinent to everybody because everybody can get a little bit better. Everyone, regardless who we are, can move a little bit better in the right direction to become a better person. So let's take that leap every once in a while. And believe me, like I had a teacher in high school that said, listen, guys, you want to learn how to speak French? He was a French teacher and forbid us from speaking any language other than French in the classroom. So if you had to go to the bathroom, you better learn how to speak, may I go to the bathroom in French? Because if you did not know how to say that, you better bring a pot with you. Because he wouldn't talk to us. He was an English guy, Mr. Hutchison. But he would not allow us to speak any language except by French, because he said to us, you will never learn how to swim by looking at the girls on the beach. You could sit there on the beach and look at the girls. You will never learn how to swim. How do you swim? Get in the water. Get in the water. And that's the same thing that's true with immersion. You learn how to speak French. Same thing is true in Yiddishkeit. You're going to jump in, put your feet in the water, jump in there. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes it's frigid. But you know what? Next thing you know, you're swimming. Look at me. I am swimming. So that's the same thing is true about living a good life. Get out there. Let's live the best life. Life is short. We know that. Carpe diem. We got to grab the day and make the best of every single day. Even when we're challenged, we find something positive about that challenge. We integrate it into our lives. And look at this. Look at us. We'll be back next year at this time with Mashiach. And we'll say to ourselves, we took the Rebbe's advice because we knew that he was right. We integrated it into our lives. And we lived the best lives that we possibly can live.
Metsuyan.
Do you agree?
Metsuyan.
There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the sad part is that this brings us to the end of the Rebbe. But I don't want you to stop learning and reading. Charlotte, can I have this in a second? I don't want you to stop reading and learning about the Rebbe. There's so many works that he has that you could go online. You know, Torah studies, Torah Cafe, Chabad online. There's a million ways to learn, you know, the Rebbe's teachings and the Rebbe's philosophy. Keep learning. It's worth every minute that you spend into it. The next course that comes up in JLI, just to give it a 2-minute pitch, is going to be in May. It's going to be, instead of a 6-parter, it's a 4-parter. But I think this is going to be an incredible course. It's called Decisions of Faith, Navigating Questions of Medical Ethics. Those are issues like, you know, experimental treatments, extending life, pregnancy questions, a body's dignity, you know, all of these very, very important questions. I hope that you will join me. We're going to start, you know, May. This is after Pesach, of course. In May, it's a 4-part series. I hope that you'll join me. You don't have to do anything right now. You know, we'll let everybody get their brochures and let everybody know what time and where this is going to take place. Thank you all very much for coming. I especially enjoyed the people that are here with me in house. Also to the people that are watching on Facebook, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. What I'd like you to do, if you like this class, give me a like, a share, a thumbs up, whatever, a face down, whatever it is, you can do that. But most importantly, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and have a wonderful Purim that's coming up, and then Pesach, and then coming with Mashiach Tzidkenu soon in our day.